Hey, help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also hit that like button to subscribe if you want more Cavs-focused content.
Oh my God, bro. Wow. I ain't even got the setup right. Holy, y'all gonna have to bear with me. Holy shit, man. Was that the craziest game of the year? Was that the craziest game of the year? Y'all tell me in the comment section if this qualifies as the craziest. It felt like the craziest game of the year. The Cavs beat the Boston Celtics. And look, the Celtics were without Kristaps and without Drew Holiday, right? They got some crazy performances from Jason Tatum to make up for it, and from Jaylen Brown to make up for it. So it's not like they didn't show up or anything like that. They actually showed up crazy. They went up 25-3 to start the damn basketball game. Like, this thing felt like it was over immediately. And then before you know it, the Cavs are doing that thing the Cavs do. And here's the one thing that's underrated about this Cavs team. One, under Kenny Atkinson, and honestly, this group overall has always had this because they've had a history of being able to come back from big leads even before Kenny Atkinson has taken over. So maybe Kenny doesn't deserve all the credit for this. But this group is extremely poised. They have great composure. If they go down by 20, they ain't tripping, right? They will just chip. They chop wood, right? They chop wood till the tree falls down. And sometimes I feel like the forest ain't never going to clear, but they just keep chopping that wood, right? And that's what the Cavs did. They're like a boxer with an insane jaw, right? If you not familiar with boxing, if you have the ability to absorb punches, that means you have an iron jaw. And the Cavs have that. That's what they have. They are not a glass jaw team. They are not a you go on one run, Cavs go to sleep. Oh, it's Boston. It's the Boston Garden. Oh my God, I'm so scared. That's not this Cavs team, right? People think that's who we are because of what happened in the New York series a couple of years ago. And at that time, that's who this team was, but that's not who they are anymore. They got hit in the mouth with the hardest. Hey, I'm talking about Mike Tyson in his prime level. Haymakers. It's each time to pow, 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 pow. It was disgusting what happened to this team 7 minutes into it. It was horrific. It was horrific. Jason Tatum was making every shot, dog. And these shots weren't even like open. These were difficult Kobe-ass shots. He looked like Kobe. In the first quarter, in the first half of this game, it was like Kobe was out there, bro. Not just regular. No, I'm talking about 81 angry Kobe out there making every shot. He was making me so, I was infuriated. Oh, he was out here telling us to go home, get him out of here. He did that whole thing to this team. And look, a lot of teams would have folded if a team unloads a historic 25-3 run on you in the first 7 minutes of a game. See, the Boston Celtics came into this game trying to send a message. It's hard for me to think about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown this way because I watch them as NBA babies. But they are truly grizzled vets at this point. And they came out with the determination to show these young boys we still the crown. Right? I don't care who we got out here. If you got to play Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, we still the crown you ain't got on us. That's what they came out here to prove. And look, man, in the first quarter, I was feeling it. I was like, damn, maybe Boston does deserve to be talked about like they are unbeatable because they looked unbeatable in that first quarter. Jason Tatum had 46 in this game, by the way, 46, 16, and 9. And then Jaylen Brown had 37 and 5. They balled. No doubt about it. They balled. And they were sending a message to this Cavs team that y'all ain't here. I don't care what record y'all got. we still the champs. We are the standard bearer. We the best team, right? And I told y'all coming into this game when I was talking with Tony, this game was going to be a hotly contested battle, not because of what it meant in the standings. I know people were trying to tell me, well, this game doesn't do anything in the standings, Quincy. It doesn't change anything in the standings. But what it is a mental game. Both teams understand what's going on here. Boston wants to make sure that the Cavs don't think there's a second in their heart that they could beat us. That's what Boston came into this game trying to prove, that the Cavs can't beat us. We got us, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. When we got us, they can't beat us. That's what they came into this game trying to demonstrate, and boy, did they demonstrate it. The Cavs came into this game wanting to prove that they can beat Boston. And at different points of this game, both teams achieved the points that they had set out to achieve, but the Cavs came out with the victory, which is the most important part. This victory is as exciting as it can be concerning because, yes, you did beat Boston, and that feels great. But can we play Boston one time without going under 20 points? Feels like we've been under 20 points every game we've played Boston at some point. We can't let them do it. Another spur where the Boston Celtics were able to out-rebound you going a run. Now, to be fair to Cleveland, they did it back to Boston later in the game, which is the DeAndre Hunter difference. By the way, did we notice how everything changed once DeAndre Hunter entered the floor? Ty Jerome was there too. He balled in the first half of this game. But DeAndre Hunter made a huge difference in this basketball game. This is an impressive win because of what it demonstrates. The Cavs are the team with the iron jaw. And you can see that just exhaust the Boston Celtics as this game went on. Because the Boston Celtics, they started this game off with a 25-0 run. And then the Cavs bring it within 3. And they're like, damn, okay, they came back. And then they start throwing some more jabs at haymakers. And boom, clocked us in the jaw. Bam. Cavs down 15. Cavs make a run, get back up to 8. Then the Celtics go on another run, bring this thing back to 17. I thought it was over. I'm like, damn, we done took 2 punches to the face. They done smacked us. Now they done roundhouse kicked us. Like, we getting up. We got up at 7. Okay, cool. Get up, go on a run immediately. And then take the first lead of the night. The Cavs have an iron jaw. They are going to be a very hard team to eliminate because they don't take themselves out of it against anybody. Like, if there was one team you could take yourself out of by going down 25-3, it's the goddamn Boston Celtics. On a night where they're shooting crazy, on a night where Jason Tatum looked like super ultra instinct Kobe. Let me know if I got the anime reference right. Shout out to Kobe on that one, right? But like on a night where Jason Tatum is unstoppable and Jaylen Brown is unstoppable, this matters. People are going to bring up that Kristaps did not play. I think that's important because Evan Mobley did have 17 and was a giant factor in the fourth quarter. Do the Cavs make up that comeback with Kristaps in the game? I don't know. But what I like that I saw from Evan Mobley is that it felt like he understood the moment. And not just that he understood the moment. More importantly, he understood who he is in that moment. This is the first time in a big-ass game like this I've seen Evan Mobley in the fourth quarter go, give me that ball. Like that. That's the Evan Mobley we need. Look, I think the closest parallel to this Cavs team that has won a championship is the 2014 Spurs. And in the 2014 Spurs playoff run, gradually throughout it, you saw Kawhi start to understand exactly who he is. Now, he didn't become Kawhi Leonard, the Claw, in that series, but he understood what it was with him and who he was and what he should be doing and what he should be getting prepared to do in the future. And that's why the Spurs were able to go over the top and win that championship that year. If the Cavs want to do that same thing, Evan Mobley is our Kawhi Leonard. So love that Evan Mobley really understood the assignment in the fourth quarter. Did not show up for most of the game. Fourth quarter, showed up. I ain't got no problem with that. 17 and 12, made a couple of big-ass threes in this game. And good for him because he had been shooting like awful from three for like the last couple months since coming back from that calf injury. So I'm glad that he still is confident in pulling that shot, and that he was confident in getting his shot in that game. Need to still see it against Kristaps. And you're not going to get an opportunity to go up against somebody who's similar to Kristaps because you don't play Wemby anymore. You don't play Chet anymore. So we'll see what it is in the playoffs because you still got to see him do it against somebody who's longer and as athletic as him. But I love the aggressiveness in this game from Evan Mobley, especially in the fourth quarter. Thought Darius Garland, offensively, he was spectacular. Defensively, he had his moments. He fought really hard, but they attacked him a lot. Cavs got to find out a better solution to keep Darius on the floor and avoid him being matched up one-on-one on Jason Tatum. Like, I don't think you have to be as drastic as to take Darius off the floor, but you have to come up with something, if you're Kenny, to discourage that switch. Now, Boston makes it hard because of their personnel, right? Not every team can do what Boston does, which is hunt Darius Garland. And not every team has Jason Tatum, and not even every Jason Tatum game looks like what the fuck we just saw today. But they got to figure out something there because they were abusing that switch, and they were abusing the switch with Jared Allen. They wanted Jared out there on the perimeter. As good as the Cavs are on ball and as good as our centers are on ball, it's tough because you want them to help, but Boston is so deadly from three that you'd almost just take the contested jumper, right? Like, I know Jared gave up a lot of contested jumpers in this game. You kind of prefer that than somebody get off to help him, and then you let one of the three-point snipers make a shot, especially on a night like tonight where Boston's shooting 43% from three. Like, I understand why they were like, hey, we'll let him hunt Darius for a 2-point shot. We'll let him hunt Jared for a 2-point shot. Because, yeah, they're going to have a higher percentage of making it, but it's better than them getting on another 3-point run. Maybe that's just a sacrifice you have to make when it comes to Boston. I'll tell you a couple things. Like, those are the things that discourage me about this game and your ability to beat Boston, right? What does encourage me about this game is that the Cavs seem to be the only team in the league that has the mental fortitude to withstand the Boston Celtics runs. Like, I think the Boston Celtics, they get on these runs, it intimidates teams. The Cavs are not afraid of it. The Cavs don't think they hit that hard, right? And I love how physical this game got. Like, you can see Boston, like, they thought they was going to send us home, and by the time they got to the fourth quarter, they were frustrated. And the Cavs were giving it back to them. Now, I would love to see us for 4 quarters not go down 20 against Boston. I would love to see what that score looks like. I would have loved to see us beat Boston when they're down Kristaps and Drew Holiday by a larger margin when they're fully healthy. All of these things you would have loved to see. But take this game for what it is. What this team demonstrated to you should not be overlooked. And what this team demonstrated to you is that they have an iron jaw. Is that they have a legitimate superstar. Have I even talked about Donovan Mitchell yet? My God. My God. You know, Donovan hasn't had to do it all season. He hasn't had to be a superstar in order for the Cavs to be 49-10, almost a 50-win team in February. He hasn't had to be who he was tonight on a consistent basis. But today shows you the importance of why it's important. It's not a great sentence, I'm aware. But tonight shows you why it's important that the Cavs don't have to play Donovan Mitchell 40 minutes a game to win. Because you can get him well rested. So that on a night like tonight, where he's going to have to take 26 shots in 35 minutes, which still isn't that many minutes. It's not even a playoff level of minutes. Well, low playoff end of minutes. But 35 minutes, 26 shots. He makes 13 of them, goes 50% from the field, 41 buckets, 41 points for Donovan Mitchell. And some big-time buckets. I mean, there was some crazy shots Boston was making. Donovan answered them. The crowd in this game, it was amazing to watch because in the first quarter of this game, the TD Bank, whatever they call it, the Boston Garden, that shit was rocking. They were loud. Oh yeah, Cleveland, get them out of here. Probably saying all kind of bad stuff about the Cavs in that stadium. It was rocking. But the Cavs, like once Boston fans started to realize they're not going away, right? Because Boston fans are used to that. The big ass punch, they're going to go away. We're going to have a good night, celebrate. Nah, they started to realize this team's not going away. They kept fighting back and punching back, and it was a silent fourth quarter in that stadium. Don't underestimate the fact that the Cavs did this on the road. Don't underestimate that. Don't let the Kristaps didn't play, Drew didn't play stuff make you forget that they withstood 2 40-point games from their two best players on the road and still beat Boston on a night where Boston went up 25 points. Don't let anybody tell you what the Cavs did wasn't impressive. Was it perfect? No. Are there some things to be slightly concerned about? Yes. Do you have worries going into a playoff series against Boston? Of course. Does it look like beating Boston in the playoffs is going to be an extremely difficult feat? Yeah. Yeah, nobody ever thought it would be easy. But that was impressive. That was impressive for so many reasons. A lot of people question what the Cavs have in here. Don't question it anymore. Don't question it. Name me a team that could take a punch like that. Only team I've ever seen in Cleveland be able to withstand a haymaker like that had one of the greatest basketball players of all time. LeBron James, 2016 Cavs, down 3-1. That's the only team I've seen have that iron of a jaw. They had to have the second greatest player or the greatest player of all time, depending on how you feel about Bron, to do it in his prime. Cavs accomplished something impressive. Still leave some room for some growth. Want to see what this looks like in the playoffs. Want to see what these lineups look like in the playoffs. Kenny Atkinson was experimenting at the end of this game, went with a no big lineup. Did not love that. Did not love that lineup. I'm glad that he put Evan back in almost immediately. But all in all, this was one of the most entertaining basketball games I've ever watched. Certainly one of the most entertaining regular season games I've ever watched. Cavs win. They're 49-10. And if you're a Boston fan, you got to feel a lot of different ways about this, right? Because at first, if you're a Boston fan, you're probably talking big shit. Because you're down 2 starters. You're up 20 on the Cavs. They're not a threat. And then they come back on you while Jason Tatum's putting up a heater. Jason Tatum had his season high in points today, had a historic first half, and you just took that punch. Like, think about that. Think about the level. This was Boston's best punch they could have possibly given you with this lineup. Like, no Kristaps, no Drew. They punched you as hard as it's possible to punch you. Not only did you get a season high from Jason Tatum, you damn near got a season high from Jaylen Brown. Hell, what Derek White had 16? That's not his season high. But he still was making a bunch of shots. They punched you as hard as they possibly could. And you withstood it. That being said, I still think the Cavs could have played way better in the first half of this game. I still think the Cavs could have won this game by way more. And you still got to see what it looks like when Kristaps is out there. This doesn't guarantee anything against Boston, but what it does mean is that these teams are looking at each other eye to eye. Eye to eye. And it could be anybody's series if they meet up in the Eastern Conference Finals. What a game, y'all. What a game. So much to take away from it. So much to talk about, but the Cavs come away victorious. And hell, man, just take the, like, for real, like, people going to overanalyze this to death and take the fun away from it. But don't, just take away the fact that you had 2 of the most enjoyable hours of your week watching that basketball game. You went through the goddamn roller coaster if you've watched that game. And by the way, if you stuck it out through 20 minutes, them first 7 minutes of that game, gangster, you with me. Me and you, we together. We ride it, right? You didn't got to be told that this game was close. Nah. You stuck it through. Because I watched this game. I saw them go down 20. I'm like, they're going to come back from that first blow, right? That second one in the third quarter, I thought there was a chance that it might be over when they went up 17 in the third. I was like, that's a lot they done took so many punches. But I'm glad that the Cavs proved me wrong and showed that they're a much tougher team than even somebody who champions the Cavs' toughness, thinks they are. What a damn game, y'all. Just enjoy that for the love of basketball. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night.